Thanks for watching.
I'm Colby.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Zach.
Our first case is going to be the weird disappearance of Maura Murray back in 2004 in New Hampshire. And let's get into the case.
Maura Murray was just 21 years old when she seemingly disappeared into history on February 9th of 2004. Maura grew up in Hanson, Massachusetts. Her parents were divorced, but she remained close with her dad. She was an athlete and was a star of the school's track team. This girl could run. Maura initially attended West Point, a school her older sister had attended. She was a chemical engineering student. That's a tough major. Maura seemed to have trouble adjusting to life there and had several honors violations. She was caught stealing a small amount of makeup and withdrew from the college, probably before they could expel her. She then attended the University of Massachusetts in Amherst and joined their nursing program. This, again, is a tough school to get into, and their nursing program is one of the toughest to get into the country. Maura somehow managed to steal credit card information and order tons of food to her dorm room. She was caught and the cops were involved. They took a sort of mug shot in her hallway and very creepy looking. Probably the only bad picture taking of a very pretty girl. Maura was placed on 6-month probation. On Thursday, February 5th, Maura was working as a desk security guard at UMass Amherst. Basically, students had to show ID and visitors had to check in with her. She received a phone call from her sister and became distraught. Her work supervisor walked her back to her dorm and offered to walk her up. Maura said she was okay. She had a roommate she could talk with. She was lying. She had no roommate. A couple of days later, Maura's father, Fred Murray, came to visit. Fred said he was there to help her find a car to replace her 1996 black sedan, which he said was barely drivable. They did not buy a new car. That evening they went to dinner with Maura's friend Kate. Kate said there was no mention of car shopping and she had no idea Maura was getting a new car. After dinner, Fred drove to the liquor store. They were going to party on campus and needed supplies. Fred said that he waited in the car and he also said he went in with them. So, conflicting story. Maura dropped Fred off at the hotel and took his brand new Toyota Corolla to the party. Why did he give her this car when she had her own? He never said. Very few facts are available at the party. No one seems to remember who was there or what kind of party it was. Some said Maura left with a guy, while others said she was left alone. She definitely had been drinking. She left at 2:30 a.m. on February 8th. 3:30, she smashed into a guardrail on Route 9 in Hadley, totaling the car. She wasn't arrested, and she had the car towed to her dad's motel. She somehow got into the room, though Fred says he was asleep and used his phone to call her boyfriend, Billy Roush, who was stationed in Oklahoma. She and Billy had met while she was attending West Point and were now engaged in a long-distance relationship. Fred was surprised to learn of the accident, but claims he wasn't really upset, which is bullshit. He was just worried about getting to work on time. Fred says that he found out insurance would cover the accident and asked Maura to pick up and fill out the accident report form. He drove Maura back to her dorm and never saw her again. Classes at UMass were canceled on February 9th because of a snowstorm. Computer searches indicate Maura looked up directions to ski rentals in Vermont and New Hampshire. She made some calls to lodges in Bartlett, New Hampshire. Bartlett was known to her, as her family had spent time in the area every year. Maura had then emailed her teachers and her work supervisor that she would be gone for a week, as there had been a death in the family. That was another lie. She packed up her books, her birth control pills, clothes, including running gear, and left. She left the room with everything, including picture frames, neatly boxed up. An email she had sent to Billy concerning him cheating on her was printed out and left in the boxes. She left the dorm at around 3:30 p.m. She stopped at an ATM and took out $280, basically draining her account. She then went to the liquor store and bought vodka, Kahlua, Bailey's, and a box of Franzia wine. After a while, she called and checked her voicemails. At 7:30 p.m., there was one car accident in Haverhill, New Hampshire, which is near the White Mountains in New Hampshire. Maura's black sedan was pointed west on the east side bound of the road. The airbags were deployed. A local man, bus driver Butch Atwood, stopped and offered assistance. Atwood said that Maura appeared a little drunk and she did not want the police involved. She told him that she had called AAA and a tow was coming. That was a lie. Butch knew there was no cell service there. Atwood left the scene and drove his bus to his home, just 100 yards up the street. Atwood did not park in his normal spot under floodlights, instead backing in. He claimed he did this to do paperwork and keep an eye on the crash site. He had his wife call the cops. Another neighbor called the police and claimed there's a passenger inside the car smoking a cigarette. That story has changed over time. She now thinks the light she saw was a red light coming from Maura's cell phone. And there was no passenger. At 7:46 p.m., the cops arrived. They discovered the front of the car was smashed. The airbags had deployed and there was a crack in the front windshield. There was red liquid splashed on the roof in front of the car, probably wine, and there was a can of Diet Coke at the site that smelled of wine. There was a rag stuffed in the tailpipe of the car. Fred has said he told her to do this to keep the car from stalling. The police never found the Kulua, her debit card, credit cards, and her cell phone. Billy has reported a phone message that sounded like a woman sobbing and thinks it was her. Investigators say that the only call he received was from Red Cross. Maura, sadly, has not been seen since. And now we get into the theories. Now, let's get into the theories. Number 1, suicide.
Yeah, her behavior before the disappearance, very erratic. She was getting in a lot of trouble. She apparently got in 2 DWI crashes in 2 days. I mean, she clearly a cry for help. Now the theory is, after the crash, she was really upset and she ran into the woods and died from exposure. And it's pretty common. I don't know about that one.
If she was going up for suicide, that's probably not where she wanted to do it. I don't think she planned the crash, even though some people thought that she planned the crash.
Right. I mean, she's not like a stunt driver, and that car was spun around. We went to the site. The car was spun around in the wrong direction. The airbags deployed. I don't see that as a planned accident. I don't think. Do you think that she would have committed suicide right at that spot?
No.
I mean, she obviously had some plan in mind. I think. Even if it was suicide, if she had thought about it, I don't think she was planning to do it there in the woods.
Theory number 2, ran away, more specifically, to Canada.
That's
After
it.
the crash,
I'm sorry.
After the crash, she supposedly went into the woods to avoid the police. About 45 minutes after, a man saw a woman who fits her description running across a trail in the woods. So that could very well be Maura Murray running up to. They had a cabin up there, right?
Right. The UMass had a cabin that you could. The track team, I think, if you know the combination to the door, anybody could get in. And if she somehow got a ride there, she could have hid out there for a couple of days. And if she had help, and she would have needed help, then she could have then gone somewhere else. But again, the whole running away thing, depends. I feel on her having help.
And the exposure theory goes hand in hand with her running away. Let's say she tried to run into the woods away from the police, and it was so cold that she was not prepared enough for it, so she died of exposure. Those woods are really thick. It would explain why no one's found her, because if she just ran right into the deep woods, it's going to take years for them to find remains, because now they're probably in the ground.
Right. We keep hearing that they searched everywhere, but we were up there recently. We took some pictures, and it's woods everywhere. You cannot search that entire area, and it is thousands of miles of woods. It is crazy deep of woods. And if she was a little bit drunk and she spun herself around in the woods, she could, and she was an athlete, so she probably could go very far, but she probably went very far into the woods and not where she thought she was going.
If she got spun around once, she was lost.
Yeah, anybody who's grown up in the woods knows how easy it is to get lost.
And theory 4, abducted.
Abducted.
Zach has his suspect,
Which is Butch Atwood.
the bus driver.
But who are all the suspects?
All right, well, you got Butch Atwood. You have the people who lived in the A-frame house, and if anybody watched the Oxygen special on Maura Murray, they found a closet there, and there was male and female blood. It was degraded, so they couldn't say it was Maura's, but they did find blood there, and that's weird. But people find blood everywhere. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. They found another house that Fred Murray believes she's buried in the basement, and he actually got the owner's permission, and the cops went down, and they actually dug up a lot of the basement, but they did not find Maura Murray. The other one is Fred Murray's theory of a local dirtbag just happening to come by, pulling over, snatching her, and driving away. Now, it's pretty... it's unlikely that could happen, in such a quick period of time, but
It's possible.
yeah, it's dark there. I don't think there were street lights. I think anything could have happened.
Aren't the main suspects the two brothers?
The two
Who
brothers
lived
in the
neighbor-
A-frame house.
Yeah.
From the police, those were the two main suspects.
But there were a lot of. There was a guy that reported seeing her on the trail, so immediately the internet detectives made him a suspect. Basically, if you gave evidence, the internet geniuses will make you a suspect in this case. So I don't know. And everybody in town seems kind of weird. I think you would agree with that. So I can see why everybody is a little suspicious of everybody. Everybody in this entire case is a little bit weird.
Now, what do you think happened?
I believe that she just tried to run away from the cops, and she went into the woods, and since she was drunk, she got lost and just died to exposure.
Okay. What do you think?
I believe that too. I think she got in a lot. She was afraid she was going to be in a lot of trouble. She'd gotten in a DWI that she got away with 2 days before. She was in trouble at school for stealing a credit card, and I think as soon as Butch Atwood talked about he was going to call the cops, she wanted to get the hell out of there. So she packed up, her Kalur and her credit cards, and she got the hell out of there. And maybe she saw a car coming, maybe a cop car, but at some point, not immediately there. I think she booked it out of there. At some point, she was in the woods. She was a little bit drunk, and it's so easy to get lost in the woods anyway. She just got all turned around, and she was lost into history. I think if we're lucky, they'll find the body years from now. But it's been 16 years, but there was a case with her, her book bag with her that had the Kalur in it. So I mean, there is stuff with her besides her body, which is going to decompose over time. But there is stuff that would make it possible for people to find her.
Doesn't wine make you warmer or something?
It's
Alcohol in general.
It's not going to save you from that. No. And it wasn't wine; it was the Kalur she had with her.
Okay. Well, I know it's wishful thinking, but I think that she did make it to Canada. Seeing as a person saw her 45 minutes later, a fast female who fit her description, sprinting fast along the trail. She could be running to a rendezvous point with a friend who we don't know. But also, that goes hand in hand, she could have been running, too cold, was underprepared, died of exposure.
But that's a key to your theory, though, and I think we all agree that she needed help. And I feel like no matter what, the solution to this case is something we don't know. Right? She had her if she ran away first, she needed access to money, right? And she needed somebody to help her. If she had that, and I hope, like when I say that I think she just walked into the woods, that's like 50% for me, and then I'm like a different percent for all the other ones, and I think I'm like 10% that she got. So I don't think it's completely impossible, and I hope it's the case. I hope she's watching this right now and thinking we're a bunch of goobers and we'll never figure her out, because I hope that, and she had to talk, her dad seems a little hard to deal with. Her family situation was bad. She was in trouble. Maybe she just had, and maybe there's more going on. I mean, we only know what we've heard. Maybe she had other trouble going on and she just wanted to get away. And that's I think all of our sincere hope is that she's happy, and maybe not Canada but somewhere else. She's happy and she's moved on and she's like raising a family somewhere, and everything is wonderful.
If she was a runaway, I don't understand. It couldn't have been on purpose, because one, she had her math book with her.
That is true.
She had her jogging stuff with her, and the car was flipped over and the airbags were in it. So maybe she
sideways.
Yeah. So if she did run away, it couldn't have been on purpose.
So you think she just decided to run away then?
Yeah.
But she still would have needed help.
Actually, that makes sense. She had a dent in her plan, so she had to improvise.
No matter what, I don't think the accident was planned. So whatever her plan was, the accident definitely changed up everything.
I think we all think that there's just maybe one part of the story that no one knows and may never know, which could potentially figure out what's wrong. Either
Solve
it
everything.
be the person who helped her run away, a different friend, where her body is, any of those things. I think those.
Everybody around her is very tight-lipped. Her friends don't really talk to reporters that much. Fred's, notoriously hard to deal with. He doesn't have a great relationship with the police.
The people at the party,
The-
they didn't say a word.
The people at the party that she went to the night before, nobody seems to know if she was. Some people don't even know she was there. They don't know when she left.
No one knows anyone.
Yeah, I
who
mean,
was there.
if I was at a party, a famous party like that, and then the girl disappeared, even if I'd had a few to drink, I think I would remember.
At least one person that was at the
but
party.
it's like really odd how nobody can remember anything that happened at the party. So the behavior leading up to it, this internet mystery, the really good thing about this mystery is everything is weird. Nobody is who they think that like Fred has tried really hard to make Maura seem like her whole life was perfect, and she was perfect, and she was not. She was a kid that had some problems. She definitely had trouble dealing with going to college, and in that case, he hasn't really helped the case at all. And all her friends don't seem to be talking that much. Everybody she met along the way, the bus driver seems, he moved. He didn't park where he normally parks, and the people, the weird brothers in the A-frame house. Everything in this case makes it, that's why the internet loves this case, because everything changes. Everything's not what it seems. It's creepy. It's sad. It's very mysterious, and although we promised to solve it, apparently we haven't completely solved it. Although I think we're all of the opinion that probably she just got lost in the woods.
Well, I think that's going to be the end of this one.
It was a good talk.
Make sure to, if you liked it, drop a like, comment down below, and see you guys next time.
All right.
And,
Thanks
bye.
a lot. All right, good job.
Good job, everyone.
Good job. I'm taking my beer with me.